Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. This week's video, we're going to be discussing some huge news related to Life is Strange. Not Life is Strange Reunion, even though that release is coming up very, very quickly. No, today we're going to be talking about the Life is Strange TV show and the recent reveal of who will be playing Max and Chloe in it. Now, in a previous video, I talked about the production of the show, how it's kind of been in development hell since it was initially announced, which is back around when the first game came out. I discussed the different groups that have come and gone on the project, who's currently on board, who's doing the music, which I still don't think Shawn Mendes is the best choice for the music, but okay. And my opinion back then is the same as it is now. I'm kind of concerned simply because of how long the show has been in development, how many different hands have been working on it over the years, and also with it simply being a choice-based game. There's so many different variations, and every fan, I feel like, has a somewhat different interpretation of the characters and what the theme is. I certainly know that my overview of the game and what I feel the themes and story arcs of these characters are meant to be or supposed to be are very different than even many people in my audience. I did a poll a while ago asking what you guys felt was the proper ending, asking what ending of the game you guys preferred, and I believe it was like a 62-38 split or something like that. I'll put it back up right here. But we're all part of one fan base in the end, and we all love the games because, you know, the choice is up to us, and that's why I think having a TV show has me a little concerned. But this casting actually makes me feel pretty optimistic about the performances that we'll get. Recently they announced that Tatum Grace Hopkins will be playing Max Caulfield, and Maisie Stella will be playing Chloe Price. We're going to look at each of these actors, a little bit of what they've done in the past, and why I think they'll be pretty good fits for these characters. This is going to be Tatum Grace Hopkins' first ever performance on a TV/streaming show. Previously, they had worked on stage and had even performed on Broadway. She's known for the Girls on Broadway, The Queen of Versailles, performed at the Emerson Colonial Theater, Newsies at the Lyric Theater of Oklahoma, and her one in front of the camera acting credit is for a short film called Meek. Now, before we get into why I think that her being on stage is actually going to aid her performance, there's one thing I have to mention. I watched a handful of interviews and TikToks with her speaking, and she sounds like Max. It sounds ridiculous to say, but genuinely, when I heard her voice, certain mannerisms and certain things reminded me so much of Hannah Telle and reminded me of Max.
Tatum Grace Hopkins, I play Jonquil. Jonquil is the niece of Jackie Siegel. She had a hard life growing up. She was estranged from her dad, Jackie's brother, and her mom can no longer take care of her, so she comes to live with the Siegels.
Shit! That came out wrong. My thoughts have been kind of...
It's cool. I'll never be able to drink you under the table the same way again.
What? It's a common turn of phrase. You're the one making it dirty. I plead innocent.
Oh, so you're just gonna tweet through it then?
I won't be speaking further without my lawyer present.
So already, I'm pretty sold on her being able to take on this character. But back to her performances on stage. Now, I've worked in the acting industry, I've worked in front of and behind the camera, I've also worked on stage. So I'm really no stranger to this realm. And that's why I think her being a stage actor coming to film is a really good thing. Something I've always heard, whether it's from actors, directors, casting directors, things like that, it's easier to make a very big actor, a very big performer, reel themselves in than it is to take a small performer and make them a big and bombastic character, and make them give a big performance. The advice I've always gotten for auditions is go big. Show them what you've got. They can reel you in if they need to. And obviously, being on stage, you don't have the up-close angle that you would normally have on a film set. You have to express all of your emotions in a large enough way that can reach the very back of the theater. And that's why I have no concerns about her making the jump from stage to screen. I think it would be very easy for the casting director of this show to fall into the trap of casting a really quiet, really sort of meek actor to play Max because, oh, that's how Max is. When really she has a wide range of emotions. Yes, she is a very anxious, a very reserved character, but there are still moments of so much emotion that come out of her, and you need an actor who can go big for those moments. And so I'm glad they went with someone who has experience having to project, having to be a big character on stage and project to the back of the theater for Max Caulfield. It shows me that they've got the range to handle this part, and I'm excited to see how they perform. Next, we're going to talk about Maisie Stella, who will be playing Chloe Price. For starters, Maisie is an accomplished musician, as well as an actor who has held down leading roles on television as well as in feature films. Most notably, she was a series regular on the television show Nashville and played a leading role in the movie My Old Ass. In that movie, she plays opposite Aubrey Plaza. I want to focus on the My Old Ass movie for a little bit because I think it speaks volumes to the kind of depth that Maisie will bring to Chloe. For starters, as I mentioned in the movie My Old Ass, Maisie plays opposite Aubrey Plaza. Basically, Maisie and her friends go into the woods, they do shrooms, and then Maisie sees herself from the future and has sort of a crisis of character and needs to figure out who she really is, and she has to rethink her life because she's being confronted by her older self. I know this term is way overused, but it's a coming-of-age story. This character is a deeply emotional one who goes through a lot over the course of the movie and finds herself, very typical coming-of-age story kind of stuff. And Maisie delivers an amazing performance, so much so that she was selected by the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Young Actress for this performance. The emotional depth that she has to go to in this movie, as well as the lighter parts and the comedy throughout it, show me she absolutely has the skill set to play a character who's as complicated and confusing at times as Chloe Price. Someone who's jokey and fun, but also extremely reckless and deeply, deeply hurt. Chloe's a character that's fairly immature at the start of the game. Not without reason, but she is immature. Chloe, over the course of the game, obviously grows as a person and changes, which ultimately culminates in her being extremely selfless when she asks Max to save the town. And I just think this movie is a great example of the kind of complicated performance that someone would have to turn in for Chloe Price. Kind of similar to how with Max, there would be a very easy path for typecasting her. You could take some actress who's very big and bombastic and just throw them in this role and be like, oh, they're funny, they'll say hella and do all the things that Chloe does, and then not really consider the deeper aspects of the character, and it would feel more like a caricature. But clearly in this case, they've gone with an actor who has a very strong ability to play both the light and the dark aspects of a character like this. So overall, I think both of them are very, very well cast in these parts. I'm very excited to see how they handle these performances and how they actually, work in front of the camera. I'm sure there've been chemistry tests between them to see if they, can play well off of each other and that sort of thing. Now, of course, the show itself, the writing, the way it's shot, things like that, that all remains to be seen. So at the very least, we will be getting some good performances. Tell me what you guys think of the casting in the comments below. Are you excited for these performers to take on these beloved characters in not just Life is Strange, but in gaming itself? Let me know what you guys think. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope you have a good morning or evening or, whatever.